Alan Rickman was so fantastic, I was freaked. Having to remind myself that it's only a film, it's only a film, it's only a film, it's only a film, nothing's real. But it was terrifying.
One time in potion lesson with Snape, who was really scary. Yeah. I was just doodling with my quill in the book. I drew this rather unpretty picture of Alan Rickman, and as I was drawing it, Alan Rickman was standing right behind me, and I was so scared.
The picture wasn't nice either. It was, yeah, I think I exaggerated a few of his features. I won't go into detail. But he was really cool about it. I think he even kept the pictures.
Alan Rickman's a very scary man. And again, a truly inspiring man as well. We mentioned earlier about actors that have inspired me. He's definitely one of them. But he's someone who also holds himself almost with a Snape-like presence. So when you're a youngster, that's going to be very, very daunting. So it took me about 6 years to pluck up the courage to say anything more than, "Good morning, Alan." That was about all I managed for a long time. But subsequently, he's one of the funniest man I've ever met, and yeah, he was someone that if I could have half the career that he's had, certainly in villainry, then I would continue that with great pride.
I mean, Alan Rickman was one that, for me, was just being such a fan of his from being young. You know, Die Hard and Robin Hood and all this kind of stuff. Working with him was spectacular.
My relationship with Alan since the fifth film has changed totally.
Has it?
And because on the fifth film I found him very, very intimidating.
He is scary.
And he is a scary guy.
He's just scary.
Before you sort of, and then I went and did Equus, and then we went out for dinner afterwards, and suddenly I found that Alan's actually hilarious.
He can be very, very funny.
Really funny and self-deprecating and kind of wonderful company, and who also was so supportive of me whenever I was going on stage. At one point he cut short his holiday in I think in Canada to come back early and see the show so he could talk to me about it.
I didn't know about
like,
that.
he does,
lovely.
He's amazing. Like, he does things like that.
Well, I think when we were younger, we were just terrified of Alan Rickman, and now we sort of can have conversations.
He's still a bit scary though, isn't he?
No, not anymore. He's super nice. He's super nice.
Alan Rickman is probably, next to Maggie Smith, the finest actor I've ever worked with. He just has that extraordinary quality of that, without giving too much away, you can see so much happening. You know, it's an extraordinary ability, and you know, his technique is he needs his feet to be planted very firmly on the ground. I remember doing a scene with him once on a hillside on Half-Blood Prince, and he got very frustrated because he kind of feels the energy coming from the ground up, and his feet need to be really squarely planted on the ground. And when I put him on this slopey hill, he couldn't quite get, he lost his mojo for a moment, bizarrely. I adore what he does, and we would talk often about the tragedy of Snape and the romance of that character not being able to show who he truly is. And actually, he would come to work as Snape, because he's actually a very nice man, Alan. But on set, certainly on Order of the Phoenix, I thought, God, he's really prickly. You know, he's really unpleasant. He was really unpleasant to the crew, he was unpleasant to Dan and everything. And it's only when I saw him away from work that I realised that there was a sort of method to his madness. He needed to be in that zone. while he was working, and he's actually a very generous, sweet, funny man. But not when he puts that cape on. When he puts that cape on and he comes to work, all my second assistant directors are padding around him because he can kill with a look at 60 yards, you know.
I will not forget Alan Rickman's performance in this last film. It is, in my opinion, the best performance of the entire series of anyone. And he had me crying my eyes out in the cinema, which I do not admit lightly, but he was brilliant. And that whole scene when he finds Lily and James and the baby Harry, and Dumbledore's explained to him what to do and that he's going to have to kill him, etc. That whole flashback sequence is just, it's painful to watch, but it's brilliant, and I will never forget it.
Well, I've always enjoyed working with Alan. He's great, and he's one of the actors that always challenged me most. They were always hard scenes, particularly when I was younger. It was quite intimidating to be in a quite combative scene with such an experienced actor. Was always quite intimidating. I think that sort of forced me to, you know, raise my own standards. It's quite inspirational, particularly he's one of those actors which rehearsing with him is fantastic. I mean, the way he thinks about scenes, the way he breaks them down, the way he thinks about particular moments. Because when you get an insight into his thought process, it's great. Yeah, I'm a big fan.